You are now listening to Sierra Unraveled, hosted by yours truly. I am a single mother who finally released myself from a toxic relationship with the help of God, of course, so I can pursue my wildest dreams. Tune in every week for some crazy stories, real life drama, and motivation to keep going. You got this. Hello, darling. I hope you are having a great day. I'm just over here figuring out my personal house hacking journey so one day I can become a millionaire. Sigh. When I started my process of wanting to own my first home, I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was 23 when I closed on my first property. I looked at over 50 houses, no exaggeration either. I submitted over 6 offers, and I wrote just as many letters to the sellers. I can be really great with words sometimes. Time out. You stop right there, sir, ma'am, whoever you are. Go rate my show and subscribe. My ratings are unacceptable at this point, especially because I know you keep coming back every week to hear what I have to say. I have had almost 500 downloads and you're still sleeping on me. That's really not nice. This is free content, and I hope that at the very least I'm a widow entertaining. Which reminds me of this kid that I knew growing up who couldn't pronounce his R's, and he crashed his bike and then came to tell us what happened. I was driving down the street and then I saw a Poe and I started swerving. Poor kid. I feel really bad because this was over like 15 years ago and my brother and I still crack up about it to this day. God forgive us, please. Seriously though, go rate my show so other single moms can hear my struggles so they know that they are not alone. It's the nicest, most genuine thing you can do. You can remain anonymous even. Just click the rating and then come back. I'll wait. So when I first started my house hunt, I was really oblivious. I went to a very well-known lender in the Detroit area and got a soft inquiry. If you don't know what hard and soft checks are, I'm referring to your credit, and one does more damage than the other. Right off the bat, they denied me. I was waitressing at an upscale restaurant making really good money. I was also working as a package handler part-time at FedEx to get my early morning workout in. I know, extra grind. However, I hadn't been at either place long enough for them to say that I was a good risk. I wasn't. I'm probably still not a good risk, but I got in anyway. I switched jobs making more money and went to a small, more local lender. They said, my credit is great, but you're so young, so your history is almost non-existent. Well, my score was probably like a 720 at the time, maybe even a 710. I had only been working on my credit for like a year or so I asked what else can I do? Well, time is the obvious answer, but I wanted to get qualified right then and there because I knew I wouldn't stay at either of those jobs that long. They said that I needed to get a cosigner. If you've had an apartment or bought a car, you will be familiar with this term. Sometimes it's called a guarantor, which isn't as legally satisfying, but either way, it's someone who will pick up your payments if you get behind. They take the hit. A lot of people won't do this for you if you have had a bad history with money or they just don't trust you. Luckily, I'm blessed to say that I have a great relationship with my mom, and she does trust me, especially when it comes to money. Once she agreed to help me out, we kicked it into high gear. Next comes the endless amount of documents we had to submit to prove our assets, prove every aspect of your life, who you are, etc. This process was ridiculous. It was like every time I submitted something, here came the underwriters asking for something else. Now, I imagine if you're a little older than I am and you've had a consistent job or income, you won't have nearly as many problems as I did. I also switched jobs twice in the middle of this process. I shouldn't be laughing, but I made them work really hard to get us approved. And by the grace of God, they did. I was so stressed out during this time. I kept calling my mom like, fuck this, I'm out. I don't want to do it anymore. If it doesn't happen, it wasn't meant to be. Then we got our approval letter and let the house hunting begin. The market was hot that year. Houses were getting put up and then taken down within a 24-hour period. I looked in different counties, different neighborhoods. I even switched realtors after an impromptu open house. Every time I saw an open house sign, I pretty much always took a detour to go check it out. Little did I know that people usually already have offers on the table pending before they have their open house just to see if they can receive a better bid before accepting the one that they already have. It may seem a little shisty, but it's just a business tactic. They want to squeeze out every single penny. I recommend getting a realtor who's familiar with the area, not just showing houses in the area for a few years, but like actually grew up there if possible, wherever you're looking. I switched to a local and Black-owned company, Hinton Real Estate Group, where my realtor became like family. My previous realtor was not thrilled with my decision after working with me for a few months, but I'm sorry, after numerous offers falling through and all the houses we looked at, side note, I was not being picky either. I wanted to stay way below my budget, the house needed good bones, and the neighborhood needed to be relatively safe since I had just found out that I was pregnant. Also, after I switched realtors, literally on our first day of showings, I found my house. I just knew that this was it. It needed work, it still needs work, but it has potential to become everything I want. No one has remodeled it yet to make it beautiful, so the possibility to flip this baby was definitely crucial in making my decision. It also has the potential for me to live here forever if I decided to never leave. Plus, it had room for me to grow a family because that's what I was hoping for at the time. It just worked. I submitted my offer with a very heartfelt letter, and we closed within, I think, 60 days later. That was an amazing day. I finally have something to pass on to my daughter. I've now been here for over 2 years despite all the crazy shit that's happened in my life. Still have my house. Here are some tips to those of you who plan to buy real estate one day if you don't own already or you're just curious about home ownership. Ask yourself what you're willing to sacrifice for your family. This could mean extra hours at work to save up for your down payment, holding on to your tax return for a few years in a row, not having the nicest car or the most shiny house on the block with a brand new kitchen and bathroom. Be prepared that you might get denied by a lender, and then just continue shopping and make sure you check the interest rates. Don't be afraid to switch realtors if they're not delivering or listening to your needs. It will be your house and it is your money. It's also one of the biggest purchases you will likely make in your life, besides your education, but Don't forget to calculate homeowner maintenance. When you have a landlord, they handle these things for you or don't, in my experience. In the meantime, you just keep paying people money who don't actually care about your well-being because they're greedy. Also, I decided I can't rent anymore because those motherfuckers are something else. I personally pay a monthly fee to a warranty company that charges for a repair request if something breaks, and if they can fix it, the cost of the repair is covered, or if they can't, they will replace it entirely. I use American Home Shield, but I also know if you are in the greater Detroit area, DTE now offers a similar program with multiple packages to choose from. Know where your credit stands before going into this mess. Your credit plays a big role in the lender's decision, whether they should approve you or not. However, in my case, it still wasn't good enough. Make sure you get a home inspection. I use Be Sure Home Inspections LLC, another locally owned company, and the second one that I got done was by a family friend who was in the construction business. Inspections can range between $500 and $1,000, but it's super important, so don't forget to budget this in. As a first-time homeowner, you will likely miss things. My first inspection saved me $20,000, if not more. I almost bought a house with a compromised structure because it was beautiful on the outside. They did so many lovely things. It was gorgeous. But when we went down into the crawl space, someone had excavated the foundation for God knows what reason, and there was a flipping shopping cart under there, and the ductwork wasn't even hooked up to the vents. Whoa. Man, just thinking about that mess is irritating all over again, especially when the homeowner was dead firm on their price. Out of their mind, I walked away, of course. Okay, so what else? Important things that can cost you a lot of money that you should definitely look at are the age of your windows and your roof. Please, I'm begging you, look at these things. Sagging, dips, discoloration, missing shingles, granular loss, all are signs of wear and tear. Also look at the ages of the water heater and the furnace. And don't forget to check out if the house comes with the appliances. These are things that your inspection usually look at, so as long as you get one of those, you should be good. You should figure out what kind of mortgage you want to qualify for. There's conventional, FHA, also known as first-time homeowner, that gives you like a $7,500 grant if the home meets the right criteria. VA loans, jumbo loans, interest only, construction, adjustable rate, fixed rate, and balloon. I'm probably missing some, and I could probably do a whole episode on this topic alone, but it's really boring unless you're seriously considering buying a house. So we'll leave it alone. And of course, always a huge advocate for doing your own damn research for every aspect of this decision. Think long-term. What's going to benefit you the most? Some of the driving factors for purchasing where I did include that the neighborhood is safe. Michigan is also a school of choice, so I can send my daughter to school wherever we choose. My house is in close proximity to 2 very large universities, as well as one of the top ranked hospitals in the country. It's also close to Detroit. Location is everything. I know you hear people say like location, location, location when they're like starting to look for a business, but it's important for your house too. There's definitely a desire to live here, so that means I could always have this house as a rental if I decided to move to another city or country or upgrade my lifestyle, or just very, very long term, I could rent the house out to my daughter and her friends if she decides to go to college in the area. You should look at similar property values in the neighborhood, check the history of those values. Are they increasing? All those would be good signs, of course. And lastly, I want to talk about some things that people don't know about when it comes to home ownership. I feel they are probably common sense, but just in case. Your mortgage payment can change yearly. I know it sucks. They will give you a copy of your payment schedule at your closing, like the whole 30 years if that's the length of your mortgage. You can make extra payments to pay off your house quicker. Just make sure that you're applying it to the principal balance so the interest doesn't hit quite as hard. You can knock years off of your mortgage term just by taking your total balance, then dividing it by the number of payments you have in a year. So if you make a monthly payment, divide the total by 12 and then add that number to your payment every month. This goes for anything you owe money on, including your car. I don't know why people don't do this. Also why I hardly get behind on bills for real, because I always pay a little bit extra. Your water heater has a temperature gauge on it, so if your water is hot as hell and burning you, you can definitely stop that from happening. You should seal cracks with caulk or mud yourself. It's a couple of bucks from the home improvement store. Look up a YouTube video. It could save you a lot of money on energy bills. Your gutters need to be cleaned at least twice a year, or things can get trapped and make your roof all nasty, or they will just overflow and dump water on your head right when you stepped out of the house. I may or may not have had this happen to me. The city can and will cite you for everything unless you live out in the country. Yeehaw! Cut your grass, put garbage in the trash bin. Certain things can't go in the garbage. That's another fine. Trash can't sit on the curb too long. Don't park your car in your front yard. And pretty much anything else your neighbors choose to complain about can get you a fine probably. Your property taxes are usually included in your mortgage payment unless otherwise stated at closing. You can receive tax credits when you do your taxes for becoming a homeowner. Hallelujah. Don't forget to change your furnace filters and vacuum out your ductwork. You will likely encounter wild animals in your yard, especially if you have a compost bin like me. Okay, last year, if you follow me on Instagram, you probably witnessed me having to deal with a possum that played dead. And I thought my daughter was going to get attacked, and I screamed so loud, and then I went out there to beat it with a shovel. I really love animals, but when it comes to my baby, I don't play. Luckily, he ran away before I returned, and then I had to come inside and look up like how long do they actually play dead for, and it could like go up to 12 hours, and I was just like, that's freaky, and I was so scared, but I knew I had to do it. Okay, so also have like big ass gophers, and George or Gary, I can't remember what we named him, the groundhog scurrying around. He was so fat we thought he was a cat. There was also a dead squirrel floating in my pool at one point, and also a smelly ass skunk that got killed in the road literally right in front of my house, and the city wouldn't come clean it up, so someone in our neighborhood came and got it. Oh, and then the other squirrel that we named Ingrid because she was decrepit as hell, and she was like limping around the yard and all mangy, missing most of her hair, and her tail was all jacked up. And then one day she climbed up in the birdhouse and died, and then her little skeleton arm was hanging out for the world to see until she decomposed. I know, it's just gross, but it's really inevitable, so just beware. Talk to your neighbors before moving in. I can't believe I almost forgot this. My neighbors are a huge part of my support system, so I can't stress this enough. I'm very grateful for all of them. I recommend driving by the house you want to buy before submitting an offer at multiple times of the day so you can see what the traffic and or neighborhood activity is like at like peak busy hours. Find out if you have city water or if you're on a well, because that's a whole other area to explore. And similar concept would be whether you have a boiler system or natural gas for heat. Be prepared to run into some hiccups. This process is not easy, and I imagine it's hardly ever seamless. I don't know, I've only done it once, so I'm just speaking from experience. Overall, I don't regret buying my home so young. It was a confusing and scary process, but I did it, And here I am living to tell you about it. I also was pregnant during a majority of it. Like, moving isn't stressful enough. Let's throw buying a home into the mix. But I'm a homeowner now. That's still really cool to say. And if you want to be one, you can be too. If you don't believe in yourself, believe in the me that believes in you. Thank you, my dear friend, for drilling this into my head almost every day that we talk. And as always, though, stop letting them unravel you, because only you can unravel yourself.